Katie West, who I highly recommend getting to know, is the founder of the Levity Project. And we have this ongoing and good-natured debate about the concept of a story. And it goes like this. Katie says, I wonder what it would be like to live a storyless life and what that would be like. And I kind of counter with, stories are so important to us. I can't imagine not having them. And back and forth we go, because I think they're the most enduring teaching tool that we have. And I just can't imagine living without a story. And there's that famous quote that when an elder dies, a library is burned. And so the truth is, we're both right. And I'm not just saying that because we're both really, really stubborn women. And we both want to win. But stories are rather paradoxical, if you think about it. On one hand, they define us. They help shape us. They ensure that our collective narrative is not lost. They remember us when we lose ourselves or forget the way. They do help us to teach each other. They help us to connect. They're a primal form of connection, and they help us to join together. Telling our stories and having them heard is a powerful way of witnessing each other. If you think of Avatar, the blue people with the little tails, and how they greet each other by saying, I see you. It's their way of acknowledging you exist to me. I see you. Oprah Winfrey talks about the concept of mattering and how we all share this fundamental need as humans to be heard and to know that what we're saying matters. So stories. It's what tonight is all about. Celebrating women, celebrating our stories. On the other hand, stories have a funny, so sometimes not so funny way from keeping us from moving forward. They can root us in the past like a crab in a bucket, pulling us back just when we're trying to clear the rim of our life. Think of some of the stories you tell yourself. I overheard myself saying this one the other day. I come from a long line of really anxious women. No shit, that just slipped out of my mouth and it's tattooed on my ass so I don't forget it. And what purpose does that serve? But here's the slippery slope of stories, is the more that stories are told and retold, we can lose the intention behind them and the context around them, so that gradually we disengage from stories altogether, but we're still carrying it around. Have you ever heard that phrase, it's just a story? Well, I don't believe there is such a thing as just a story. I think stories are powerful and should be treated accordingly. Martha Beck, who's the author of one of my favorite books, I have a lot of favorite books, you'll learn, called The Breaking Point. And she writes about these moments in our lives when we realize we are separate from our story. And she calls that experience of stepping outside our story, satori moments, Japanese word. And there are these epiphany moments where we transcend ordinary perception and we reach a level of new awareness about ourselves in relation to the world around us. She describes it like this. You're sitting in a movie theater, a dark movie theater, and you're watching this disaster unfold on the big screen, this big, gripping movie. A spaceship is hurtling through space and is literally being pulled apart as it's going. So the nuts and the bolts are sort of vibrating on the ship. And it's coming apart at the seams because someone entered impossible coordinates into its GPS system. Someone made a mistake and entered in coordinates that are sending the ship in two different directions at the same time, which is impossible. And so the ship is breaking in half. And all hell is breaking loose. And as you're shoving this buttery popcorn in your mouth and you're watching, like, they're all going to die. People aboard are frantic, and they're fighting for their lives. Mutiny is breaking out on board. People are blaming they're searching madly for who put the coordinates in the system. And older people are yelling at younger people, and people are mad and angry, and emotion is high. And just when you think the ship is just going to rip in half, one of the lead characters turns to the camera and looks right in your eye, and she says, this script sucks. I'm so stressed right now. I have a headache, and I'm just reading the script. And you're sitting there with the popcorn halfway up, looking around, and so are the actors on the screen, because she broke rank. She broke rank. And when she did, you realize this is a a role they're playing, and we all thought this was real. And as we're watching, the people in the audience and the fellow